Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome to an historic gameplay video featuring a green, white or Selesnya Lifegain deck. This is a deck that I actually played quite a few years ago now. It's when Alchemy first came out due to the addition of Inquisitor Captain, which when it ETBs, if you cast it and there are 20 or more creature cards with mana value 3 or less in your graveyard, hand or library, seek two creature cards with mana value 3 or less, put one of them into battlefield and shuffle the other one into your library. This is a great way to get out small creatures, and all the creatures in a deck have mana value 3 or less. This made this deck quite powerful, so I thought I'd revisit it now and see how it holds up, and the answer is pretty well. I have made some tweaks by reducing the number of Heliods, adding some more lands, and I also added in a final showdown, a new card from Outlaws of Thunder Junction, which is an instant for 1 white mana and has spree. You can pay 1 generic to cause all creatures to lose all abilities till end of turn, another generic to choose a creature you control, it gains indestructible till end of turn, and then 3 generic and 2 white to destroy all creatures. So if you have 8, I think it is, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, you can do all of these, and to use it as a way to wipe the board but keep a creature in hand. And one of the reasons I put this in is back in the day there were some stalemates where we had huge creatures through Lifegain, which I'll get to in a minute, and they just cancelled each other out. So this is a way to clear the board while still keeping the big creatures. So essentially the aim of this deck is to get down Lunarch Veteran, Soul Warden and Prosperous Innkeeper. These all cause you to gain life when another creature enters the battlefield. Lunarch Veteran and Prosperous Innkeeper is when a creature ETBs on your turn, under your control, sorry. Soul Warden is any creature, so that's really powerful. And Prosperous Innkeeper also creates a treasure, which is very useful. And once you have 1, 2, or as many of these as possible, you also want to play Voice of the Blessed, a 2 mana, 2/2 Spirit Cleric. So whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on it. As long as it has 4 or more +1/+1 counters, it has Flying and Vigilance. As long as it has 10 or more +1/+1 counters, it also has Indestructible. So you get this down with these, you gain life, it grows, it then gets Flying and Vigilance very quickly, and then Indestructible in the late game. Trelessara, very similar. When you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and you also scry 1. Great way to see what you've got on top of the deck and decide whether you want to keep it or get rid of it. I think Voice of the Blessed is better because it gets flying and evasion is a big issue in this deck. We also have Skyclave Apparition as a bit of removal. When it ETBs, you exile a non-land, non-token permanent you don't control with value 4 or less, and then when Skyclave Apparition leaves the battlefield, that exile card's owner creates an XX blue illusion creature token where X is the mana value of exiled card. I've chosen this over Brutal Cathar because with Cathar they get the card back if it's removed. With this they just get a creature token back. And we also have Heliod and Scurry Oak. This is a infinite combo as well. So if you have one of your life gainers down, and then you have Heliod down, Heliod is a 3 mana 5/5 indestructible enchantment creature, and it has, as long as your devotion to white is less than 5, devotion is a mechanic from Theros block, and it's equal to the number of basically mana pips you have on the board. So if you have a Lunarch Veteran and a Soul Warden, you'd have devotion to 2, then Heliod will come down in devotion to 3. So if it's under 5, it's not a creature. Then it has whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on another creature or enchantment you control, and you can play 2 to give another target creature lifelink at end of turn. So you have that down and say a Soul Warden, and then play Scurry Oak. Scurry Oak, 3 mana 1/2 with Evolve, which says when another creature ETBs under your control, if that creature has greater power or toughness than this creature, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And it has whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters appear on Scurry Oak, you may create a green 1/1 green squirrel creature token. So if you have Heliod down and Soul Warden and you play this, you'll gain life from Soul Warden or Lunarch Veteran or Prosperous Innkeeper. Could you gain life? You can put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, put it on the Scurry Oak, you create a squirrel token, you gain a life, you put a counter on the Scurry Oak, and essentially you gain infinite life and create infinite tokens. On Arena, infinite doesn't work. You do have to stop at some point, probably around when this is like a 2021 and you've got 18 or 19 squirrels. There's no way to attack all in one turn, so you'd have to wait till next turn and hope that they don't have a board wipe, which is their final showdown, can come in handy. But it is another life gain payoff as well as Voice of the Blessed and Trelessara. And finally, we have Collected Company. Very, very powerful. Cost 4, it's an instant. Look at the top 6 of your library. Put 2 creature cards with mana of age 3 or less onto the battlefield. Because all our creatures are mana of age 3 or less, will most likely hit 2. Apart from, sorry, Inquisitor Captain. But we generally hit what we need of that, and it's a great way to get more life gainers and life gain payoffs. So that's the deck. As I said, I wanted to see how it holds up, and it holds up pretty well, as I hope you will see in the gameplay. Thank you all for watching, and if you've enjoyed this, please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the gameplay. Thank you very much. We have a Keepable Hand. We can get down the Veteran turn 1, then Innkeeper turn 2. Obviously, we do need some life gain payoff and some more land. So actually thinking about it, I am going to mulligan. Yeah. We still don't have the payoff, but we'll keep this. Play out the Plains and the Soul Warden. Hopefully we draw something. Another land, an untapped land, or something playable. Up against a Goblin deck. I think our life gain will be very helpful here. It's not what we wanted to see. That third land would be really useful. There we are. We will Skyclave the Moria Marauder. So he's still looking for that life gain payoff, either Voice of the Blessed or Trelessara. I'm fine with taking that. Scry, what do we see? Trelessara, that's what we want. I'm fine taking 6. And then obviously Trelessara now will grow twice. Another Soul Warden will be fine. And also, if they do try and take out Trelessara, we can give it indestructible with Final Showdown. And obviously we gain a life whenever a creature enters under their control as well. I'm going to take it. We'll gain so much life when we get down the second Soul Warden. If you want to take out the Skyclave Apparition, that's fine. Yeah, that's alright. Because obviously we can just play another one. Don't need a second Trelessara. And then I'll use the Skyflake, the Apparition, on the Hoardmaster. Don't need another forest. Don't need another land. I'll keep the innkeeper. Don't need the land. Don't need the land. Don't need the land. That's going to be a bit of an issue. Do we want Scurry Oak? No. We only really need that when we have Heliod. We're really looking for Voice of the Blessed. I don't think so for now. Voice of the Blessed is what we're really looking for. Oh, another Soul Ward anyway. It does mean whenever they create a huge amount of goblins, it won't really do much to us. There we go. That's what we want. And if we get up to 7 mana, which we're only 1 land away from, we can just wipe the board apart from Trelessara and swing in. Because what makes Voice of the Best better than Trelessara is once it gets 4 counters, it gets Flying and Vigilance. Which means we can just swing in over the top and not worry about on the defence. They have the problem of we gain 2 life whenever they create a creature. And because most of the creatures are going to be 1/1s, so 2, 4, 6, 11. I'm fairly sure we're fine. Yeah. I don't know, there was no way they could kill us. We could block the Krenko with our Voice of the Blessed. We don't really have to block anything else, really. Not Voice of the Blessed, sorry, Trelessara. But yeah, good result. Ground it out. Let's move on. We have a life... We do have a Lifegain enabler, but we don't have any payoff. Hopefully we can draw one. We are on the play, but if not, once we get to 4 mana, we can Inquisitor Captain and Collected Company. So we will... Yeah, we'll give this one a go. Play us on white to play down the Veteran. Up against an Elves deck by the looks of it. Heliod's an okay draw with Scurry Oak. We'll play out the farmland. It is tapped. They are going full ramp. Play out Heliod. So we are going to go a bit infinite here. We gain a life, put a counter on Scurry Oak. Create a token, gain life, counter on Scurry Oak. So we can essentially gain infinite life and create infinite creatures. So obviously mono green, they won't have much that can take out the Scurry Oak. And then next turn, we'll get us up to like a 20-20. And then next turn we can get down Trelessara. And essentially do this again. The fact they haven't scooped suggests something. We'll get 20 squirrels, that way, you know, we have a lot more threat. But I think that will do it. Calm, it's a pretty good draw. Are they just going to go off now then? They've only got 2 in hand. No. That's the thing about infinite combos in Arena is in paper you can just go, well, I gain infinite life. You know, obviously you can't do that in Arena. It takes too long. But, you know, I don't think they had the cards or the mana for Paradox Engine, or you know, whatever they had in hand wasn't enough to cast a spell or try and tap everything. So next turn, obviously we could have swung in with over 40 power, but also got down Trelessara to basically do the same thing and grow that and scry for our entire deck. So a good result. Let's move on. We have a very keepable hand. Soul Warden into Voice of the Best. And then Heliod to then put even more counters on things. So yeah, definitely a keep. And if we get an extra mana, we can play the Inquisitor Captain. So hopefully the Warden doesn't get removed. Up against Goblins. This is quite a good deck for us because basically whenever they play a creature, we're going to gain life. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but we can get down Heliod and give our voice lifelink on a later turn, and hopefully Inquisitor Captain can hit a few life gainers. Oh, they're just a removal red deck. So let's get down the captain, see what we get. I'll put down the veteran. We still do need that payoff. But I can Skyclave Apparition. Well, let's see if we get... It's going to be shuffled away, but hopefully we can find, say, a Trelessara or a Voice of the Blessed of this. Let's go for the Innkeeper again. They might be able to ramp a big red creature out. By removing counters off a Steam King, which looks like what they're doing. Do they have another one? Wow. They have a play with fire, obviously. We'll disturb the Phantom. Get rid of the Steam Kin, and let's put Lifegain on the Inquisitor Captain and swing in. It's going to be hard for them to deal with this now. And there we go, that's what we're looking for. We can give both creatures lifelink. Yeah. We can grow all our creatures, grow Trelessara, and you know, the game's going to get beyond them, and we're going to be gaining life every turn. Yeah, even though we removed all our creatures, we managed to pull through. So let's move on. We have a keepable hand, Soul Warden into Voice of the Blessed, assuming the Soul Warden doesn't get removed, is very powerful. Then we'll play Pathway on white, so we can play the Soul Warden on turn 1. Oh, actually, no. This is... We might be a turn behind the curve. I might get out my temple then, just so that we can scry one, see what we have on top. As opposed to showing Soul Warden for removal. They've mulliganed down to 6. I'm happy with another Soul Warden. I'm going to play out both my Soul Wardens. That way Voice of the Blessed will grow twice, assuming they both survive. And if we go into mono blue, obviously all they will probably do is bounce. We do have to be worried about counter magic though. Also an Is It deck. Balmor doesn't really bother me. I think our life gain will take over. And all it takes is them to play one more creature, and Voice of the Blessed gets up to a 6/6 flyer with Vigilance. And next turn we can Coco. If they're tapped out, I'll probably do it on my turn. They are thinking about this. They do have six power at the moment. Yeah, let's Coco now. See what we hit. We will take a Trelessara. No, let's take another Voice of the Blessed and a Soul Warden. Swinging with our 9/9 Vigilance flying. And next turn, obviously, Inquisitor Captain can get us something else. They iterate again, but we can block both their creatures. They didn't find any land last turn when they did this. In fact, they seem to have found exactly the same. Yeah. 2 expressive iterations and no land, as well as your draws. That's either incredibly unlucky or they've built their deck quite badly. But a good result for us. Again, we played Inquisitor Captain next turn, hit another creature, grow our threats really big, and I'd have to chump both of them essentially, I think. Otherwise, they would be dead. So let's move on. We have a... I don't think it's a keepable hand. We need a payoff. We don't have a payoff, but we do have a lot of life gain. So I will keep this and put Veteran to the bottom. Up against a zombie deck. It does mean they should be creating lots of creatures for us to gain life off. The champion's going to grow quite big, but as soon as we find one of our payoffs, so will ours. We'll play the Scry land. Don't really need another land. And next turn we can get down the Heliod. We could do with a payoff quite quick because they are ramping up the power. But at least now we'll be able to, next turn, if we don't draw anything else, we can get down the Lunarch Veteran and the Innkeeper, gain 2 life, put in 2 counters on something, and we're not far away from Heliod being a creature, which a 5/5 indestructible will be very powerful against their Death Touch. Don't need another Heliod. Next turn we can play the Inquisitor Captain with the treasure. So that's 12. I'm not going to block anything, because then we can get down the captain, gain more life, make Heliod a creature. Definitely put in Voice of the Blessed. We'll grow our Voice of the Blessed, because if it gets up to 10 counters, he'll be indestructible as well. There you are, a indestructible 12/12. And I'll keep Heliod back just so that he can block one of their Death Touchers. So one more creature, and the Voice of the Blessed just has lethal. Are they going to tap and try and draw? Yeah. They don't have any mana, so... I'm not sure what the point of that was. Unless they have a Languish. No. Well, this should be game. There we are, a 24/24. Vigilance, flying, indestructible. One shot kill. I think this match really showed the resilience of this deck. So we got down to, I think it was 3 life, and then we're back up to 16, and in the process creating a 24/24 flying vigilance indestructible creature. So great result. Let's move on. Ooh. This is not ideal. We need 2 white and we don't have it. But Yeah, why not? Having 2 Voice of the Blessed, I think it's too good to pass up. Against an elf deck. And we do get the treasure, so we can play 1 next turn if we... What we'll do, we'll Coco and see what we can... Nope. Don't swing in with that. And see what we can find. Skycave Apparition will be quite good against Steel Leaf Champion if we get our 2nd white mana. Obviously, I'm hoping to hit a Trelessara or another Voice of the Blessed off Coco. I'd say they're quite far ahead, but we can just get a lot of life back. Voice of the Blessed and Scurry Oak. Yeah, there we go. They just saw the value straight away. We could have blocked their Steel Leaf Champion, but we had no need to. I think we were in a really good position. Although they didn't know, actually, we can't play anything else in our hand. But they weren't to know. Let's move on. So we do have the infinite combo. So because of that, I think I'm going to keep this. Infinite life, infinite squirrels. Up against another elf deck. Yeah, we'll get down the Soul Warden. And then we can get down the Temple of Plenty and see what we have on top of our deck. Ideally, it would have been good if we drew that, but a turn earlier. Next turn we can get down Heliod. That is fine. Yeah, let's get down Heliod. And then next turn we can... I think let's get down the Voice of the Blessed. Start pumping it up. And then Scurry Oak to do the infinite combo. They do have a lot of mana with Marwyn. Do they have a way to exile Heliod? Green does have ways to deal with enchantments, but usually it's destroyed. It's destroy, not exile. A big 5/5 and now a 6/6 Soul Warden. A second Voice of the Blessed is good, and we can... unfortunately, we can't play both of them. There's no need for it to enter untapped. I don't think they really thought that one through. This is why Soul Warden is so powerful, because it's symmetrical. You know, they've just created 8 tokens, I think. So now I have Leaf in the air. It's indestructible. It can block Marwyn. Their tokens don't have haste. Maybe they're seeing how big they can go. Unless they've got a Crater Hoof, then obviously that will be an issue. And maybe they do. What I should have done is shocked him with Temple Garden, then I could have given my Voice to the Blessed lifelink. Let's grow the Soul Warden a bit. If they do have the Crater Hoof, I don't think I can survive. Yeah. Yes. Yep, we are very dead, but well, fair enough, can't really argue with that. And even giving Voice of the Best lifelink wouldn't have made any difference. I'm not sure why my Heliod suddenly became a creature at the end, but yeah, well, unfortunate, but they did have their, you know, exactly what they needed. But anyway, let's move on. Hello Magic fans, and welcome back to the wrap up. I said in the deck tech I wanted to see how this deck holds up, and the answer is pretty well. We played 10 games and had a 90% win rate, and the one we lost was the very last game we played, and that was against an elf deck, and they managed to get over 30 elf tokens and cast Crater Hoof Behemoth in the same turn. We had a 40 something Voice of the Blessed and would have swung in for lethal the next turn if they didn't have the Crater Hoof, but they did. That's unfortunate. They're not going to be able to draw everything they need at all times, but very, very powerful in every other matchup. And in fact, we played mono green. I think they were all elf decks 3 times and won 2 of them. So, you know, it's not like it's a weakness. Of those, 6 times were on the play, and on the draw, that was when we had that. We did lose. So maybe if that was on the play, we may have won. But it holds up very well. It does have an alchemy card, which I know not a lot of people like. But actually, I didn't play it that often. So you could swap that out for a non-alchemy Lifegain payoff card. I did have a quick look at some other cards of what we could include in there, but couldn't really find anything really fit. But yeah, had a great time playing this. I remember playing it a few years ago and it was very fun, and it is very fun now and very, very powerful. So a great way to get your daily quests done. And while we only play this in the play queue, I think it will do very well in the rank queue as well. So probably a good way to get up in the rankings. I had a great time playing this deck. I hope you all had a good time watching it. And if you did enjoy, please remember to like it. And if you've not subscribed, please do subscribe. It's a new channel and it does wonders to help me out. So I really, really appreciate it. Thank you all, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Goodbye.